What's going on, everyone? My name's Eric, and today on the channel we're going to be going over the topic of basically just shipping a guitar and the do's and the don'ts that come with it. It's actually a pretty straightforward task, and what I wanted to do is pass on my experience with shipping various guitars and having many guitars shipped to me over the years and pass it on to you in case you are going to be shipping a guitar to wherever the world, so no matter what the situation is, you and the person that's going to be receiving that guitar are going to be very happy at the end of the day. So with all that being said, let's hop into today's video. And first things first, you do need the instrument and like the exact instrument you're going to be shipping. I'm emphasizing that just because some people don't like to do the right thing and they like to not send the instrument. So please don't be that person who likes to scam or falsely advertise. We don't want any of that. So we have the guitar or the bass in the hard case. I prefer hard cases. Again, wherever the guitar is going, I want to make sure it gets to that destination in one piece. So make sure you get a hard case. Different story if it is coming from the manufacturer. Sometimes they might send it with a gig bag. But if it is a private sale, I always recommend a hard case. Make sure the instrument fits the hard case as well. As you can see here, this Jaguar bass sits real nice. Actually just going to shake it around here and it's not moving at all. Now, if you have a guitar that sits in the case and maybe the case is actually too big, what you want to do is actually take some of this foam right here, like I have here, a little bit of bubble wrap or anything like that, and just basically line the guitar body and make sure there's foam or whatever it is all around the guitar body, just so it is not moving and just so in case it gets knocked around on the truck or the plane or whatever, it's not going to get damaged in any way, shape, or form. We're going to move up to the headstock here. As you can see, I have some foam around the headstock here, just because there is a little bit of room from the headstock to the top of the case. You want to do your due diligence as best as you can, just to make sure the guitar is going to get to the new owner in the shape that it was advertised in. Another thing that I like to do is I'm going to put a little bit of bubble wrap or some foam or some newspaper, old t-shirts or anything like that. I'm going to put that on the fingerboard of the guitar, so when the actual case closes, basically there's going to be a little bit of a padding or some sort of protection on the guitar, just so maybe the strings or the fingerboard, the frets don't get damaged or anything like that. And last but not least, you can actually tune the strings on the guitar or the bass down just by a little bit, just to relieve a little bit of neck tension on the guitar. And this is just to make sure that nothing is going to happen to the neck on the guitar, especially if you are shipping this instrument in different climates and with different humidities or different temperatures or anything like that. Again, you want to do your due diligence just to make sure the instrument is getting to the new owner in the condition that it was described in. Now, if your instrument case has any sort of key locks or padlocks or anything like that, make sure you actually ship the key outside of the guitar case, whether it's in the packing label or anything like that, or you actually communicate the case code just so the new owner can actually unlock the case properly. Next step here, you want to have a box that the hard case is going to sit in here. Even though this seems obvious to some, I have seen some guitars just get shipped across the country without a box and it's just the hard case with some shipping labels on it, and again, that is another risk for having your guitar showing up in not the condition it was advertised in, and again, that's just something that you don't want to have happen. So make sure you get a box to then throw the guitar case in. Something I like to do is actually put a little bit of foam or newspaper all crumpled up at the very bottom of the box. This is going to be providing a little bit of extra cushion for the guitar in the hard case, just in case it is getting knocked around in shipping. Okay, and the guitar case is in the box now, and next thing you can see is that this case can still kind of move around in here, so we really want to avoid that. Take a little bit more of that newspaper, that foam, and I'm going to line all the sides just going all the way around, just so this case can literally not move. Now that we have all the sides and the front and the back of the case kind of all lined here, what I'm going to do is basically just do the exact same for the top here. That is so when you close the box, there's going to be a little bit more cushion just on the top here where the headstock is sitting. So again, I just want to make sure that this guitar is going to be super safe when it is traveling to its next destination. There's going to be no issues with the guitar or the bass when the new owner gets it. Alright, guitar is pretty well packed up here, and before I go and tape the top of this and then take it to the post office, what I want to do is actually just give it a little bit of a shake test here. And the only thing I'm hearing is like the handle of the case just kind of rattling around, and I'm not hearing the actual case shift around on the inside. And the guitar, I know for sure, is going to be actually sitting pretty snug as well. So a little bit of noise like that, that's totally fine. But if you are noticing that the case is rattling around on the inside here, I would just say add more foam, add more newspapers, anything like that just to support it and just to make sure that the case is not going to move when it is in the inside of this box here. All right, now when you're gonna go tape up the top of the box there, you're gonna use this packing tape here. This is like Duramax brand. You can get whatever kind of packing tape you want. You don't want to use movers tape or masking tape. That's not going to hold. Packing tape is where it's at. I used to work in shipping and receiving years ago, and this stuff will hold like crazy. So this stuff costs maybe like $2 at the dollar store. So get a couple rolls of these, especially if you have a lot of guitars to ship out, or if you want to do this at a later point as well. And then do this, tape up the top, go around and around, and make sure that top is not going to come off under no circumstances unless someone's actually getting at it with scissors or a knife. There was a joke that kind of ran in my family that my grandmother went to tape school, that based on like how much tape she used for like all the Christmas gifts that we would all get. So yeah, I guess like take that for what you will. You can use a lot of tape if you would like, but just make sure that this top part is not going to like break free for whatever reason that it might break free. So you can go crazy with the tape if you want. It might cause the new owner of the guitar a little bit of a pain trying to get at the guitar, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that this guitar or whatever you're going to be shipping across the country or wherever it's going to be going is going to show up in one piece, or at least the shape that it was described at. All right, next up, take a Sharpie or a big old black marker in some way. I'm going to draw some arrows on it. And arrows are going to be pointing up. That means that you want to have that side up. Now, I've had some cases where, some delivery people have basically just ignored that, and I've gotten a guitar shipped to me more or less, or carried up to me like upside down, and they kind of didn't care. Again, this is me just doing my due diligence. You can even write this side up on the box as well. And another thing I like to do, I like to write the word fragile pretty well on every face of the box here. Again, that is to let the shipping company and the delivery person know that there are fragile contents inside the box, so then they can hopefully handle this box with a little bit more care than they would for something else. I don't recommend doing any of these signs in like pen or pencil. It's just not going to last at the end of the day, and you actually might poke a hole through the box just trying to write on there, especially if you really need to get a pen on there. Worst case scenario, you can ask for some stickers that say fragile, this side up, or anything like that from the post office, and I'm pretty sure they will give them to you free of charge. So at that point, you're pretty well ready to take your guitar to the post office and send it off to the new owner. A couple final things that I'd like to recommend before we wrap up for today. I always ship insured, and I do that just for the unthinkables, like maybe the guitar gets lost or it gets damaged in shipping. So if you do ship insured, you can then save yourself a giant headache at the end of the day, and then basically have the delivery company be on the line for any sort of damages that might have happened. That has honestly never happened to me in my time of shipping guitars or receiving guitars, especially from other parts of the world. Recently just got a guitar from Japan, and that showed up with way less packaging than I threw in this case, and it showed up perfectly in tune without a scratch on it in a hard shell case. So take that for what you will, but I like to go the extra mile and just make sure I am covered at the end of the day and have a little bit of that shipping insurance just for those weird, unthinkable moments. And if you are doing a private sale, make sure you are in really good communication with each other. Make sure you are on top of communication and you're sending each other like the actual legit tracking numbers and everything like that. And however you're gonna figure it out with you and the seller or the buyer of how you're gonna like make sure it's gonna be legit at the same time, that's gonna be on you. I like to video call people just to ensure that they're gonna have a good sale, or I'm gonna get a good sale, or just honestly make sure that the whole guitar is legit, because pictures can be pretty misleading for a lot of things. And like to repeat an earlier point, like don't be the person who like just sends rocks in a box, even though you got a ton of money from this person, you actually really didn't sell your guitar. Don't be that person. Like, just, if you're gonna sell a guitar, just sell a guitar and don't give people the runaround. Make sure you're on top of communication, because especially if that seller has paid a good chunk of change for a guitar or a bass or whatever they've wanted, and it's coming from a different part of the world and this is your first time meeting them, you wanna make sure that you are accurately representing yourself as a good seller. So if that is something that you're not really strong at, like with communication skills and maybe really being on all the time, maybe this isn't for you. But if you are someone who is buying guitars, or maybe someone who wants to ship a few guitars, maybe outside of your local region to get a few more sales, or maybe get some more traction on a guitar you have for sale, this might be for you. And what I wanted to do is essentially just pass on what I've learned throughout my time of shipping guitars and buying guitars from various parts of the world, and make it so that your next experience with shipping or buying a guitar and anything like that is going to be a little bit better than it might have been in the past. And with all that being said, I hope you learned something in today's video. If there's certain parts that you've learned and liked in this video, make sure you leave them in the comments below. If you really like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, I have tons of more videos that go over different guitar topics, kind of like these off topics like this, or at least more guitar oriented ones like with setups, and even like the real niche guitar related content and also covers as well. And if you are a returning subscriber, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video that I upload. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next time.